Good morning, Year 4. I hope you are all ready to continue with our work on Danny, the champion of the world, and look at some literal questions in a moment. But of course, before we get into that, we need to recap our key vocabulary that we looked at yesterday. So if you'd like to pause the video now and just have a quick recap of these words in your mind, then you absolutely can. If not, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we can get straight into doing the actions for it. Okay, so today what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you the action and I would like you to say the word, please. So let's start with propped is that word, to support and hold something in place. Second word. Fine, which means very good or excellent. Third word, let's go for solid, which means sturdy or strong. Number 4. That word, of course, is lavished, which means to give or spend without limit. We've done half of those now, so let's do word number 5, which is, I'm going from place to place in no particular direction, wandered. Number 6. If I'm using a small hammer to do something, I am fixing it or repairing, of course, is the word, repairing. Penultimate word. Served. So something that has a particular use. And then finally, word number 8, can you think of what it's going to be? Which word haven't I done without even doing the action? I always have to lean back for this one. Onward, of course, which means going forward. Very, very well done, guys. So I'm just going to share my screen because there is a vocabulary activity that I'd like you to do just to test your knowledge of that vocabulary. So what you've got to do here is circle the appropriate words, and it's testing your knowledge on four of the key bits of vocabulary that we've looked at. So for this one, circle everything that is solid. So we have tree, juice, smoke, and table. So there may be one thing or there may be more than one thing on each option. So I'm going to go through and I'll do the first one with you. So, is a tree solid? What does solid mean? Oh, strong and sturdy. Yes, that's not going to work. Yes, absolutely it is. So we can put a circle around that when my board is playing ball. Sorry, guys. There we go. That's better. Is juice solid? Is that strong and sturdy? No, definitely not. Neither is smoke. Table is definitely solid, so we'd put a circle around that. So if you've got the sheet, you can just circle them. If you don't have the sheet, no problem at all. Just put the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, and just simply write the words that you would otherwise have circled. Okay, pause the video now, and we'll go through the answers when you are ready. Off you go. So hopefully that's given you a chance to have a look through those. Let's go through the answers now. So everything you could use to prop open a door, a book, and a chair. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a cat that's happy to stay still for that long. Circle everything that you could lavish upon someone, money, presents, and awards, so things that you can hand out really, very, very generously. And then circle all the places that you could wander, the streets and the beach. Fantastic. So we have been reading this book here, Danny, the Champion of the World, and we're going to go through it another time all together. So I'm going to read a lot of this, but for many of you, at a certain point, I'm going to ask that you guys read this as well. So let's go through. So chapter 1, the filling station. When I was 4 months old, my mother died suddenly, and my father was left to look after me all by himself. This is how I looked at the time. I had no brothers or sisters, so all through my boyhood, from the age of 4 months onward, there were just 2 of us, my father and me. We lived in an old gypsy caravan behind a filling station. My father owned the filling station and the caravan and a small field behind. But that was about all he owned in the world. It was a very small filling station on a small country road surrounded by fields and woody hills. So what I'd like you to do, I've stopped there. Can you read between this asterisk here and this asterisk here? So pause the video and resume once you've read that bit either out loud or in your head to yourself, please. Off you go. Hopefully that's given you enough time. Let's go over to the next page. But my father didn't seem to mind. I think that all the love he had felt for my mother when she was alive, he now lavished upon me. During the early years, I never had a moment's unhappiness or illness, and here I am on my 5th birthday. There he is there. I was now a scruffy little boy, as you can see, with grease and oil all over me. But that was because I spent all day in the workshop helping my father with the cars. The filling station itself had only 2 pumps. There was a wooden shed behind the pumps that served as an office. There was nothing in the office except an old table and a cash register to put the money into. It was one of those where you pressed a button and a bell rang and the drawers shot out with a terrific bang. I used to love that. The square brick building to the right of the office was the workshop. My father built that himself with loving care, and it was the only real solid thing in the place. "We are engineers, you and I," he used to say to me. "We earn our living by repairing engines, and we can't do good work in a rotten workshop." It was a fine workshop, big enough to take 1 car comfortably and leave plenty of room round the sides for working. It had a telephone so customers could arrange to bring their cars in for repair. Final page here. The caravan was our house and our home. It was a real old gypsy wagon with big wheels and fine patterns painted all over it in yellow and red and blue. My father said it was at least 150 years old. Many gypsy children, he said, had been born in it and had grown up within its wooden walls. With a horse to pull it, the old caravan must have wandered for thousands of miles along the roads and lanes of England. So, for the last bit here, it's only 1 sentence. I would like it if we could do that all together. So, from butts all the way down to bricks, we're going to see if we can read this out loud at the same time. But now its wanderings were over, and because the wooden spokes in the wheels were beginning to rot, my father had propped it up underneath with bricks. There we go. So that is the first chapter of Danny the Champion of the World, and we are going to do a practice literal question together now. So, true or false? The caravan was modern. Page 5. Now, the reason I put this on page 5 is because a couple of the questions do say page 5, and it's the way that we've copied and pasted different parts of the story to get it onto one document. So when it says page 5, it actually does mean page 4. So if you see any questions that say page 5, it's, yeah, we actually mean page 4. So, step 1, underline the key words in the question. It's not a very long question, so it shouldn't take that long. So definitely a key word is going to be caravan, because that is what we're trying to find information about. And the other key word is going to be modern, because we're trying to find out, was the caravan modern? And modern is another word for new. So is the caravan new? So yes, we have underlined the keywords in the question. Now we're going to skim and scan for the keywords, which is on page 4 over here. So the keywords we're looking for are caravan and modern. And remember, the word modern may not come up exactly as it is. So think of some other words for modern that it could be. It could be maybe new, brand new, something along those lines. So let's scan and see if we can find caravan. Here we go. So we've got caravan. Let's see if that works. Let's read around the keywords and see if it answers the question. The caravan was our house and our home. Well, it doesn't say anything, it doesn't say anything in that sentence about whether the caravan was modern or not. So let's carry on and keep skimming for those key words, caravan and modern. Okay, so it says here, old. So that is an antonym really of modern, isn't it? So let's see if that answers the question. So let's read around it. My father said it was at least 150 years old. So that definitely helps us answer the question. So we need to think really, I mean, it's a little bit of inference, but it shouldn't be too tricky to manage. 150 years, so would you call that caravan modern? No, I don't think 150 years is very modern at all. And some of you may have spotted even in the sentence above that, it does say it was a real old gypsy caravan. So there are sort of two ways that you can answer that. So I have skimmed and scanned for keywords. I've read around the keywords. Now I need to write my answer and see if it makes sense. So the caravan was modern. False. Caravan was... So we can either say old, because it does say that it's old over here, or we can put 150 years old. I like to be really nice and specific, so I'm going to choose that. So false, the caravan was 150 years old. There we go. Now, does my answer make sense? False. The caravan was 150 years old. Certainly makes grammatical sense. And does it answer the question? True or false? The caravan was modern. Well, I've definitely answered it because I've said whether it's either true or false. And I've also given my evidence to back that up. The caravan was 150 years old. We can't just write a one-word answer, even if we found it in the text. We need to make sure that we use a bit of information to prove our point. So does it answer the question? Yes, it does. So I'm going to go back to this slideshow now. If you have got the question sheet, this is where you can begin your, if you've got it printed out, you can just crack straight on and complete the first 4 questions. If you don't have the sheet, no problem at all. You've got it all in front of you now. So whether you've got the sheet printed or not, can you please go through and answer the first 4 questions only, please? And then we'll come back, go through the answers to those 4. And then, or actually, we may actually go through the whole thing, but just finish the first 4 questions to start with. Okay, so pause the video here. So hopefully you've answered the first 4 questions over there. Now, let's have a look at the answers. So make sure you've got a different colored pen or pencil, and we can go through these 4. So it's, of course, it's a fiction text. Danny had none or 0 siblings. 3 things that Danny's dad had to do when Danny was a baby. So you could have chosen anything like washed him, fed him, and changed his nappies. You could have also put repaired motor cars and served customers petrol. And then the final the statements down here for question 4, false, true, true, false. So now here are the final 4 questions. Can you please complete those? So pause the video, complete those 4, and also the extension is here as well. Create your own literal questions. So perhaps create 2 or 3 literal questions of yourself that someone else you could give to and for them to answer. Okay, so these are your final 4 questions. Pause the video now, and we'll go through the answers at the end. Off you go. Right, hopefully that's given you a chance to finish these 4 questions and hopefully write your extension as well. So let's grab that different colored pencil or pen and let's go through the answers. So the cash register, it made a fun noise, which is why Danny enjoyed it. The gypsy wagon was yellow, red, and blue. Danny's dad owned a filling station, a caravan, and a small field. Grease and oil was what Danny was covered in on his 5th birthday. And then I'm really looking forward to seeing on Seesaw any literal questions that you managed to create yourselves. So guys, that is just about everything from me today. Thank you so much for your hard work. Looking forward to seeing what you've done on Seesaw. So make sure you get that all uploaded. And I look forward to seeing you for tomorrow's inference questions. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye guys.